I'd like to request lunch service for the upcoming 12 years. Is such a thing feasible? As our family's diner teetered on the verge of closure, and during a challenging period, a lady of model-like beauty placed this unforeseen order. My parents and I were taken aback by her request. Her laughter in response to our astonishment led her to jest. Is 12 years insufficient? Perhaps 32 years would be better? Her playful grin evoked memories of a long-lost friend. My name is Oscar, and I am turning 31 this year. I am employed at the diner operated by my father, mother, and myself, a trio not wealthy but content. Our diner, a local haunt, sees the occasional visit from my high school peers. Raised in this community, I attended the neighborhood public high school. Although I was not the brightest, those 3 years were filled with joyous moments with classmates. I harbored feelings for Leona, a classmate for 5 years, whose slim and attractive appearance captivated many. My own average looks did not bolster my confidence to pursue someone seemingly out of my league, yet her pale complexion drew my concern, a detail overlooked by others. In high school, where bringing one's lunch was customary, my mother would always remind me to eat 3 meals daily. Coming from a diner-owning family meant my lunches were substantial, catering well to a growing boy's appetite. However, Leona consistently skipped lunch. Inquiring about it indirectly through one of her friends, I was told, "Oh, Leona is on a diet, eating only 2 meals a day to maintain her slim figure." This reasoning was beyond my comprehension. My concern persisted, yet I took no further action until one day, with her friend absent and my usual lunch companion away on a club activity, Leona was studying alone. Seizing the opportunity, I asked if I might join her. Despite the surrounding commotion, our conversation went unnoticed. Upon questioning her dietary habits and expressing concern for her health, noting her praised slimness against her pale complexion, Leona's initial smile vanished, replaced by tension. I instantly regretted my words, fearing I had crossed the line. If I had said something wrong, oh no, but I do think you're beautiful. What I meant wasn't that you're unattractive or anything. Sorry, that was a poor choice of words. I really didn't mean any harm. Being on a diet is important too, I apologized to her. I realized I had been rude to her. After hearing that, Leona's expression softened a bit. No, it's okay. You were just worried, right? Her smile eased my hesitation. Then, I took out sandwiches wrapped in plastic that I had brought separately for my lunch. Yeah, I'm worried. So, this is me being meddlesome. Throw it away if it's a bother. I placed the sandwiches on Leona's desk. No, but really, don't throw it away. It's really good. Try it, I said, and stopped eating my lunch. Did you know my family runs a diner? The Harrison's Diner near the station. I'm the son of the diner owners. That's why it's good. As I said that, Leona hesitantly reached for the sandwiches. She took a small bite, and for some reason, I felt relieved watching her as I continued eating my lunch. I heard a sniffle. Leona? When I asked, Leona, with tears in her eyes, muttered, "It's delicious." My heart tightened. I had a feeling that something was up. If it's okay with you, I can be someone to talk to. There must be things you can't tell your friends, right? At my words, Leona started to speak, little by little. I have a younger brother and sister. They're still little. I listened quietly to her story. But my father passed away 5 years ago, and now my mom is supporting us all by herself. So, I do the housework and take care of my siblings, even dropping them off and picking them up from daycare. I also cook the meals. Leona carefully took small bites of the sandwiches I gave her, tears falling onto the sandwiches. So, we don't have much money. I can't work because I have to take care of my brother and sister. But even in such a situation, my mom let me continue my studies, so I feel like I have to endure everything. Wiping her tears, Leona said that with a smile. My dinner is usually leftovers for my brother and sister, and I hardly have time for breakfast. But I have to keep going. After listening quietly, I spoke up, "Come and eat at our place." Bring your brother and sister too. Thank you, but I can't afford it, and just your thought is enough, Leona replied. But everyone thinking she was on a diet, what was she really feeling? I had no idea about her situation and carelessly commented on her pale complexion. I never imagined she had such circumstances. I never thought about the happiness of being able to have 3 meals a day. So maybe you're saying that I look pale wasn't completely wrong, but it's for reasons like that. So don't worry about it. Thanks for worrying about me. You're the only one who noticed, Oscar. It surprised me, Leona said, smiling. I couldn't smile. Don't worry about it? That's impossible, of course, after hearing about her situation. Racking my brain, though not the sharpest tool in the shed, I pondered over what actions I could possibly take. Realizing the limitations of my capabilities, I decided to simply offer my assistance. Here you go, Leona, I said the following day as lunchtime arrived. I approached Leona and placed a sandwich on her desk. As expected, Leona looked surprised. Oscar, didn't I tell you Leona doesn't eat lunch? One of Leona's friends inquired. Yes, but I wanted to give this to her anyway. It's fine, I responded. Leona eyed the sandwich on her desk. It's from Harrison's Diner, their special club sandwich. You should be thankful and eat it. Leona, you're looking a bit too slender, I commented before returning to my seat. Was my action appropriate? Leona discussed it briefly with her friend, then turned to me, saying, thank you, her gratitude evident. Her smile was radiant, and I felt a profound sense of relief. From that day on, I continued to bring Leona a sandwich every day. Before long, our entire class was aware of my daily gesture. Hey, Oscar, you fancy Leona, don't you? One of my classmates teased me one day as I was giving a sandwich to Leona. What? No, I replied, even though Leona, concerned for me, tried to deny it as well. She likely understood the reason behind my actions, but I preferred to keep her personal circumstances confidential. Is there a problem? I challenged the class, which was buzzing with speculation. You're silly. If you were really trying to impress Leona, there are better ways than offering carbs every day. If you truly liked her, you wouldn't do that, a classmate mocked me. In response, I retorted, I'm the son of the Harrison Diner owners. I'm simply sharing the sandwiches that I believe are the most valuable. This statement silenced my classmate, and Leona's friend defended me with a compelling argument. It's none of your business, right? Thanks to her, the teasing subsided. Leona repeatedly expressed her guilt, feeling it was enough, but I insisted, if you don't want it, just throw it away, and continued to offer her sandwiches until graduation. I believed that taking any further action would only impose a burden on Leona, so I limited my support to what I felt was manageable until our graduation. Leona's family situation remained undisclosed, and while I sometimes worried that my actions might have been bothersome, her words to me on graduation day, I will never forget your kindness, it meant everything, will always hold a special place in my heart. Afterward, I pursued culinary school, where I obtained my chef's license, embarking on a journey to safeguard our treasured family diner, Harrison Diner. Post-graduation, I gained employment at a traditional American restaurant, where I mastered the basics of American cuisine. Despite the opportunity to immediately join the family business, my father was still actively involved, and my mother was diligently working alongside him, leaving no apparent role for me at the time. My father's advice, don't waste the chance to learn, allowed me to acquire invaluable skills that I wouldn't have gained had I stayed home. After dedicating roughly 7 years to the restaurant, I returned home, only to encounter disagreements with my father over the differences in operation between the traditional restaurant and our diner. Whether it was complaints about how the stock was prepared or reprimands for altering the seasoning independently, we experienced our share of conflicts. However, at the core, whether in the restaurant or our family diner, our fundamental goal remained unchanged, to delight our customers with delicious food. Whether it was the restaurant or our family diner, Dad, Mom, and I shared the same goal. We wanted our customers to savor delicious food. This isn't a fancy establishment, Dad would say. People come here for quality meals, not elaborate broths. Your broth may be flavorful, but if it drives up costs, we'll need to adjust our pricing. We have our unique approach, don't compare us to others. That's not the reason I encouraged you to learn. Dad's words prompted me to introspect. Unbeknownst to me, I had been measuring our diner against the restaurant, attempting to alter its essence. I'm sorry, I was mistaken, I admitted. Dad silently acknowledged my apology, while Mom offered a gentle, approving smile. Henceforth, I regarded Dad as my mentor and honed my culinary skills under his guidance. My stint in the restaurant was not in vain. It taught me how to enrich dishes with stock and utilize vegetable trimmings, among other techniques. The stock is richer now, Dad conceded, recognizing our collaborative effort in safeguarding Harrison Diner. However, this period of harmony was short-lived. Located near the station, our prime spot faced stiff competition. A fast food chain debuted about 4 years back, followed by a family-style restaurant a year later. These rivals significantly impacted our business, drawing in office workers with their fast service and enticing students with their substantial, fried offerings. In response, we introduced faster-serving pasta and launched takeout options, including fried food combinations targeted at students. Yet, we couldn't match the affordability of chain stores, which benefited from bulk buying. Growing up in this diner and working alongside Dad, we experimented with various tactics to remain afloat. Despite our efforts, customer visits decreased, and there were days the diner felt deserted even while open. Our loyal customers and occasional visitors would encourage us to persevere, but finding a viable solution was challenging. On one particularly quiet afternoon, with no patrons in sight, I broached the subject of closure. Maybe it's time to shut the diner, I suggested. Dad's reply, heavy with resignation, confirmed our fears. Yeah, I think we've done all we can. The sadness in his voice and Mom's downcast eyes nearly brought me to tears. I know you've both given it your all, but sometimes things come to an end, regardless of our efforts, Dad comforted me, his own emotions barely contained. Just then, the silence was pierced by the sound of the door opening. Instinctively, we looked up. Hello, I greeted, forcing a cheerful tone in an attempt to dispel the somber mood. How are you? Echoed Dad, with Mom's spirits lifting slightly at the prospect of a customer. The newcomer, a strikingly slender and beautiful woman, was not one of our regulars. I didn't recognize her. Please, have a seat here, Mom offered as she removed her sunglasses. The woman said, No, I'm not here for a meal. Dad, Mom, and I froze at her words. Then, the woman looked at me and smiled. I'd like to order lunch for the next 12 years. Is that possible? Why yes, I blurted out, surprised. Both of my parents were equally stunned by this unexpected order. Then, the woman chuckled at our reaction. Is 12 years too short? How about 32 years, she joked with a mischievous smile. That smile triggered a memory in me. Hey, it's been a while, Oscar. It was her. I stepped forward. Leona, is that you? Wow, it's been so long. Yes, the beautiful woman was Leona, the same classmate I used to give sandwiches to in high school. The unexpected reunion filled me with joy. Mom, make some coffee. Come on, have a seat, I urged, but Leona laughed. I'm not here for a meal. I wanted to order some lunch. I tilted my head in confusion while Mom prepared the coffee. We sat facing each other at the table. What do you mean, and what are you up to now? Are you doing well? I asked, and Leona replied, You didn't know? I'm kind of a celebrity now. A celebrity? Leona began her story about her life after graduating from high school. Apparently, she was introduced to a cooking class by a senior at the company where she worked as an office clerk. The class focused on nutritious and budget-friendly cooking. Being new, the class offered her a spot as a monitor. Concerned about her own pale complexion, which I had pointed out, and now constantly worrying about her siblings' health, Leona was drawn to the class's focus on nutritious and budget-friendly cooking. Leona began arranging the recipes she learned in her cooking class and sharing them on social media. Of course, she knew there were people who couldn't afford to attend cooking classes, so she thought that by sharing her knowledge, she could help someone. Her teacher was pleased with the promotion and happily allowed her to continue. As a result, Leona's social media followers rapidly increased. This led to a book deal with a publisher, where she co-authored a recipe book with her cooking teacher. "Well, that's amazing," I said, smiling. I was genuinely happy for her. It seems like Leona's success is telling me that what I did was not a mistake. Well, it might be a bit of pride on my part. And now, I'm a YouTuber and a culinary researcher, doing my own broadcasts, she added. A YouTuber? I exclaimed, surprised, and Leona laughed. Is it that surprising? The idea of being a YouTuber often implies being quite famous. It made sense when Leona mentioned she was somewhat of a celebrity. She seemed like someone from a different world. That made her reason for being here even more puzzling. She must have sensed my confusion and explained, "Actually, a girl from our class, who I was close with, told me that Harrison Diner was going through tough times. I wanted to see if there was anything I could do. So I came today." "I see, thank you," I said, expressing my gratitude. Leona then said, "I should be the one thanking you. You don't know how much you helped me back then. It wasn't just the sandwiches, but also your thoughtfulness and kindness." I looked up at her. "The person I am today is because of you, Oscar. You pointed out my pale complexion and provided those sandwiches from here. So, for this diner, I'll order for 12 years, 22 years, however long it takes. Now it's my turn to help you." Tears welled up in my eyes. "Thank you," I managed to say, and she just smiled happily. "I'll deliver lunch every day," I promised. "Could you also make them for my brother and sister? They need lunch for school every day," she asked. Tears streamed down my face as I repeatedly nodded at her words. After that, Leona and I kept in regular contact. It wasn't just about the lunch. I didn't want to let this opportunity Leona gave me go to waste. Swallowing my pride, I asked Leona to teach me about cooking. I can't let pride waste an opportunity to learn, I thought, something Dad had told me. After I graduated from culinary school, we started focusing on budget-friendly cooking to cut costs and creating nutritious meals to differentiate from other eateries. This approach attracted a younger clientele and, thanks to social media, brought in customers of all ages. Our diner regained its bustling atmosphere, and our business stabilized. Leona promoted Harrison Diner's secret recipes on her YouTube channel, which also brought us great publicity. We built a new friendship, supporting and being supported by each other. One day, while chatting, I said to Leona, "Hey, why don't you come and eat here with your brother and sister? You've been having our lunch, but you've never visited the diner, right? Your mom is welcome too." Leona was delighted by my invitation. Back in high school, I had once suggested bringing your brother and sister along, but at that time, Leona declined, saying she couldn't afford it. Of course, I never intended to charge her then or now. I just wanted to make her happy. On the day of closing, I opened the diner and cooked for the 4 of them. "What would you like to order?" I asked. They looked at each other and then said, "Some sandwiches, please." Sandwiches, I was taken aback. Sandwiches weren't on the menu, although I used to boast about Harrison Diner's special sandwiches. Those were just something Mom made. Leona expressed a desire for her mother, brother, and sister to experience the unique sandwiches made by my family, referring to them as truly special. With a smile, I prepared a modest meal consisting of sandwiches, soup, and salad for them. Observing their joy as they relished the meal brought me immense satisfaction. Once they had finished, Leona's brother and sister, accompanied by their mother, departed for their evening classes, expressing their gratitude with smiles that I deeply valued. Finding ourselves alone, Leona offered to assist with the cleanup, which I politely refused, insisting that it was my responsibility. "It was incredibly tasty, thank you for preparing it once more," she remarked. I admitted that, In the past, the sandwiches were crafted either by my mother or myself, though it was predominantly my mother's handiwork. I suspected as much. They did taste slightly different at times, she chuckled. I apologize for any inconsistencies, I said, somewhat embarrassed. Leona, still laughing, reassured me, no need to apologize, I was always delighted. And despite others teasing you about your affection for me, you were always there to make things easier for me, even though, truthfully, I was the one who harbored feelings for you. Her confession left me speechless, my surprise evident as she modestly blushed. All I wish for is to be there for you, Oscar, to offer my support, she said earnestly. In response, I echoed her sentiment, desiring to be a steadfast source of support for her whenever she might need it. Over time, our friendship blossomed into love, and we eventually married. Years later, both Harrison Diner and Leona's YouTube channel continue to thrive. Leona has put on a bit of weight, something she's noticeably self-conscious about, yet whenever I assure her of her beauty, telling her she's never looked better, her face lights up with a genuine, happy smile.